reception, a few gentlemen quite close to me would all like to talk at you for a short period of time. I think Mark is going to lead first.
Should we ask for music?
Yeah. There.
Thank you.
Hello and good evening.
Hello.
This is a very emotional occasion for Anne and for me, and probably for all of you as well. Not least for Sam and Rosie. I'd just like to acknowledge what a grand job the photographer and the registrars did this afternoon. I thought it was a lovely ceremony, and well, it probably beat any other ceremony that I've been to hands down in the last few years. I'm going to be brief because I know that Dan's got quite a lot to say. Mainly because when Rosie and Sam decided that they were going to get married and organised this ceremony first of all, it was the 17th of March 2019, which is quite a long time ago. What they envisaged was something, well, let's call today a scaled back version of what they thought was going to happen. Lots of reasons for that. Most of them are quite obvious. And we all had to make compromises, had to adjust plans and change the ways that we were living our lives for reasons that were completely beyond our control. And of course I acknowledge their frustration, but really I'm also grateful that the gathering that we have today is what we have. It's absolutely lovely. I could have been really immature about this and got into...
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And got into proposing probably 5, 6, 7, 8, or possibly 9 toasts, but I've restricted myself to 2, and I'm going to ask you to make sure that you have something in your glasses now, because there are 3 VIPs in the Kirkham and Nicol family who can't be here today, entirely because of their age and infirmity. So the first toast that I'd like you to join me in is a toast to the grannies. Please raise your glasses and say cheers and thank you for being with us in spirit on this special day. Rosie and Sam's grannies.
To the grannies! Cheers!
There are a few acknowledgements and well wishes from our postcode, and a little bit wider afield that I'd like you to hear about. Especially I'd like Rosie and Sam to hear about them. The list includes John Fellows, Ray Deans, Peter Ingalls, Paul Lambert, Stephen Anthea Hart, Jackie and Rodriguette Volson, David and Rachel Clark, Will and Karen Morgan, Nicola and John Pearson, Charlie and Annette Penny, and their daughter Kat. Also Sue and Justin Harley, and last and definitely least, Jamie Hicks, the rudest pub landlord in England.
He's very, very rude, it's true.
There may well be others that I've missed out, but I hope they won't take offence, and since they're not here, it really doesn't matter. I've lost my way. Please give me a moment to catch where I left off. Now that I've got the formalities out of the way, I'd like to say a few words apart from Rosie. Apart from Anne and me, there are only 2 people present who've known Rosie all her life. They know who they are, and I'll ask them to raise their hands and identify themselves. There we are.
It's like Secret Hitler. Hold on.
Since the rest of you have only known Rosie as an adult,
Oh God, will you do it?
something. I'm going to start with Claire. I think Claire is the most important person to start with. It's my most treasured possession. It's my 50th birthday card from my two girls. If the house was burning down, that's the thing.
He pushed me in a cupboard.
That's the thing that I'd run to rescue.
Oh, Lord. I do remember making that. Me too.
I'm also going to share a few significant memories of incidents and a very extensive Rosie Nickel database. The first is an incident I didn't even witness. When I think about it, I still wince. The version of events I heard went something like this. Anne and Rosie were on their way home. Rosie was 14 and was showing a bit of interest in the business of driving a car.
Oh, shit!
So Anne was explaining the rudiments of steering, acceleration, braking, and gear changing. All pretty straightforward stuff. Anne, who is generally very risk averse, pulled the car up in our woodland track. She got out of the driver's seat and swapped places with Rosie. Within seconds, Rosie steered off the track and tried to take out a beech tree. The car was a write-off. The tree is still there. The mark she left on it is fading nowadays. The insurance claim is still a mystery. I'm guessing.
It was a deer.
I guess she's ahead of me. I'm guessing that the cause of the accident was probably a deer startling the registered policyholder. I'm delighted to say that Rosie has continued to leave her mark wherever she goes in life, and also relieved to say that she does it mostly in positive ways nowadays.
The car was called Hyacinth.
The car was called Hyacinth.
Sorry, Hyacinth.
Yeah.
I apologies to you. Rest in peace, Hyacinth.
That was, well, she was 14. She's nearly 34 now, so that was 20 years ago.
We'll question the legalities later.
There is a lawyer present, so.
Yeah. The second memory is one of those moments which becomes like a film clip that's stored in your brain, the sort that you can retrieve at will and replay again and again. It dates from the summer of 2011. Rosie might correct me on this. It might have been 2010, I'm not certain. I was sitting at my desk in Hereford, and the phone rang. I picked it up, and there was Rosie. She sounded as if she'd just swallowed a gallon of helium. Dad, she said, I got a first. Everyone in the office heard my end of the conversation, and word got around. I was bursting with pride, so I got in touch with Rosie's old school and asked her for the email address of her English A-level teacher. The message read something along these lines. Dear Mr. Howes, I'm Rosie Nichol's dad. I'm emailing to let you know that Rosie has been in touch to say that she's been awarded a first in English literature from Queen Mary's UCL. I'm sure a good deal of credit goes to you and to Monmouth School. Of course, I found Mr. Howes' reply a bit baffling and a touch cryptic. Dear Mr. Nichol, he said, it's always nice to receive news of past students' achievements, and I thank you for getting in touch. However, I don't feel that I can claim any credit for it, for Rosie's accomplishments, or that any credit is due, yours, etc. Somehow, felt a little bit unresolved, but for the time being, I'd just let it be. Sometime later, Rosie and I were chatting, and I mentioned my communication with Mr. Howes, and also my bafflement at his response. Rosie understood it completely and immediately. She said, "Dad, that might be because I was hardly ever in school during my sixth form." Suddenly, it all made sense.
I didn't go to any lessons.
My third treasured...
I was with Miranda.
33%.
When did you guys hang out in Monmouth?
Oh, no,
Where were you all the time?
Done was it?
There wasn't many places to go.
Scrotto.
Reading English literature by the river.
We were educating ourselves.
Well, apparently you all were, and very successfully.
Don't tell your students that.
My third
School kids, yeah.
My third treasured reflection on Rosie is far more recent, and it concerns her time and the impression that she's making in her present school. It helps if you're familiar with Roald Dahl and his tale of Matilda, but it's not absolutely essential. Somehow, a small group of pupils identified Rosie as the fiction Remus Honey. By the simple process of word of mouth, she acquired a nickname that soon became common usage around the school. This is probably because of... I'm mumbling a little bit. This is probably one of the highest compliments that a teacher can receive. It signifies a broad base of approval, acceptance and affection across the student group. None of this surprises me at all. She deserves it, and she's undoubtedly earned it. Between them, Rosie and Lizzie have been an endless source of privilege and joy to Anne and me. We've just been so lucky. And now it's time for me to say how delighted Anne and I are to celebrate and formalise the incorporation of dear Sam, who is an absolute treasure into our family. We're so happy for Rosie and Sam on this special day of celebration. Please, everyone, get up and say what's necessary to Sam and to Rosie to a long and happy future together. I love you both.